Turn on. Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my friend Gina from Modesto, California, and we both went to the Nashville show last night. I literally just got home from my flights today, but Gina and I we met back in last June at the Runaway trip, and we've been
Yep.
friends ever since. And Gina, myself, and a bunch of other friends all hung out all day yesterday. And well, anyway, how you doing, Gina?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you again for coming on so late and getting this in. While it's fresh in our heads, and there was so much I wanted to talk about. I don't want to forget anything.
Right.
But
Exactly.
but we had a great time yesterday. You, me, and a bunch of others. We did so much during the day and stuff. But we'll talk about the show, I guess. But before we do, I want to talk about how you became a Bon Jovi fan.
So I've been a fan probably since 1986, 87.
Lucky you.
House, had my own TV, and I'd record MTV all the time. And I think my favorite, besides Living on a Prayer, probably like Lay Your Hands on Me when he'd come across on the wire. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So back in the day before DVRs and all that stuff, I would just record thing.
Well, I'm so thankful that YouTube exists because I wasn't even alive then. I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's eyes. So
Right.
thankfully YouTube exists and I can kind of watch that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your favorite song of all time?
My favorite is probably Sleep When I'm Dead, because
There
it
you
gets me going in the morning. And besides Living on a Prayer, Wanted is my ringtone. So any of those three are good.
Yeah. Well, we'll start talking about the show. So I know you and I we both did VIPs. And I'll let you talk about yours. But mine, for Milwaukee, I did the Bed of Rose. So I did 3 shows on this tour. Milwaukee, I did the Bed of Rose, which was the more expensive, the front row package and all that. But this, I did this VIP because I had a good view of the show. It was a 10th row, and I like the merchandise, so that helped me. You got like guitar picks. You got this hat. But a guitar. I better list everything off here. Guitar picks, the hat. You got a fanny pack, which I'll have to learn how to rock that. My wife was like, "Don't wear that near me. Don't wear that." So I joked with her I was gonna wear it all day today at the airport. Hand sanitizer, a battery, this was cool. The charger pack.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that was great because like my phone was like halfway dead and I was able to plug it in and it was great.
Great.
So yeah, and then you got a good view of the show. So it was worth it. It was the lesser of the VIP, like the third in line. So I'll let you talk about yours real quick.
Yeah, it's good to know you had a good view still of that in that row. Is great.
Mm-hmm.
So I was second row. I had the Bed of Rose package, and it came with the wine charms. I don't know if you can see them. I have them here for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a wine stopper. And then
I can't even. Can you get yours out of the box? I can't get mine. I've had mine for 3 weeks now, and I can't even get it out of the box.
I have not tried yet, but I'll let
Yeah.
you know. I struggle. And then the pool float, you saw that there.
Yeah, the fan favorite.
Yeah, and then the cup, another favorite.
That was my favorite of the Better Roses merch pack. That was my favorite item.
Yeah.
So you were second row center. I was 10th row on Phil's side, and I originally I had 11th row, and there was a couple seats that were empty, so we moved up. So we were actually 10th row on Phil's side, but between John and Phil, so like seats 3 and 4 or whatever. Or no, like 10, 11. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. We were right in front of Phil, so that was great.
And I noticed, so I did 3 shows, and I noticed that there were so many VIP members for this show compared to the Milwaukee Rally, which I did. But I remember like the line for the Bed of Roses just was never ending. There were so many people, which was great.
Yeah.
But I remember like they said, VIP check-in was like at 6 and stuff. But like I remember it was going on past 6:30 before everyone was in, and then we came in after you guys because that was the package under you. And then sound check was, so this was the cool part. So I don't know if you heard it, but I remember we were like the 5th. So you guys had your line, and then our line was next to you. I was like the 3rd person in line waiting, and I remember like Lou and Darren, and for people that everyone that's listening to this podcast knows who those guys are. So.
Yeah.
I remember they kept coming in and out, OB and all of them. And every time they opened the door, you could hear a sound check, and the band was rehearsing "Let It Rain," which was so cool.
Oh, yeah, I heard them rehearsing too, but I couldn't quite catch what it was. But yeah, it was cool to hear it.
Yeah, it was "Let It Rain," and it was great. I heard him do like the instrumental over and over and over, and then I could hear John sing a little bit. And then when they let us in, they opened an act, Jessa, who was good. She was rehearsing, and so we had to wait kind of outside of the, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's a little fried from the last 2 days, but we weren't able to go to our seats yet because she was rehearsing, and she sounded great during. I love listening to sound check. Kind of listening to the bands kind of get the sound right and work everything out. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you were at your VIP thing, so we went down to the floor, and I talked with friends and stuff, and I saw Obi, talked to Obi for a little bit, and just wait for the show to start. What did you didn't see Jessa? You probably saw the party. Yeah.
We went straight into the VIP room and got our food, and then they had some games for us to play, like trivia, and that's when that one girl won the guitar, and it was just fun catching up with everybody in there. And I met some new people, which is always great. And we had a great time in there. And then it was time to go. All of a sudden, the contest they were having kind of ran over. And so we're like, oh, we got to get down to the floor. And so we got down there. And as I'm walking down the steps, as the lights came down, I'm like, oh, no, I need to get to my seat.
Yeah, run real fast.
Yeah, and then we didn't even have time. I mean, I was trying to record, what was going on. And I'll let you talk about that, but it was.
Yeah, before we get into the good stuff, we'll talk. I did notice that too. I noticed right when the show was starting, I don't want to give anything away just yet, but I noticed that a lot of because rows 1 to 10 were primarily the VIP people, and they were in the VIP lounge, and so a lot of those seats were empty. I'm like, the show. I had the same problem in Milwaukee. Maybe I just didn't hear the announcement, but I remember like I looked at my watch, like the show's gonna start any second. So I ran down, and luckily I got to my seat in time. But last night I saw that not a lot of the VIPs in their seats yet. So, but let's get into the good stuff now. So this was the very last show of the 15-month tour, and John even said during this show that these 15 dates were just a trial run to see if they could still do it after 2.5 years, which we'll get to that. So anyway, so we'll get to my favorite part of the show. So we know that the last 14 shows, they really didn't change anything up. It was the same opening every night. So I was hoping this show would be a little different because it's the last night and John can kind of be a little flexible. So this is for people that are watching the YouTube video. This was the set list. So the opening. So before it was going on 8:20, and I saw Darren and I saw Lou and I saw Matt briefly, and I saw some other, like John's inner circle security running back and forth. So if you're facing the stage on the right,
Yeah. Okay.
they were racing. I'm like, I thought they were going to the sound check or the soundboard, and then I saw like event staff just kind of huddle up. I saw like 20 event, and then I saw rope. I saw people starting to, and obviously
Something's going on.
fans like you and I, we put two and two together, so we knew something was. And then all of a sudden, I see on the 100 level coming down, I saw Jesse and some of John's family, and then some family members of the other band members coming down. And so we knew John was going to pop up in the audience. And I'm looking everywhere for the B stage like they did on the previous tour,
Oh
or
yeah.
previous tours, and didn't see it. And all of a sudden, before the show started, I look up in the 100 section, and I saw John with his flag jacket just waiting, and saying hi to fans, and and all of a sudden the lights went out, and then John started doing a cappella. We gotta hold on to what we got, and there was no stage either. He was really just, as far as I know, I looked and I talked to some other friends, and they said there was no stage. So he's pretty much just hanging out, standing on top of the chairs or on the steps that goes up the aisle, and he sang prayer right in the middle of the audience. I won't get into it, but there was a part of me that really liked that because critics were saying he was lip syncing prayer and blah 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 the other
Yeah.
night, which I don't want to get into that. I don't care about that. What I care about is seeing my favorite band, and I support John, but we're not gonna get into that. So for me, I was kind of like, how cool is it that he's singing prayer in people's faces?
Yeah.
So I like that. Um, Another thing about that too was that every tour, especially since the Have a Nice Day tour, John has always been out in the audience playing a few songs, whether it was the beginning of the show, in the middle of the show. He's always tried to do a few songs out to get that audience connection. Obviously, with this pandemic, excuse me, with this pandemic, he wasn't able to do that on this tour, because especially these 14 shows, if he was to go out there and someone has COVID, they catch COVID, the tour stops. So I think with Nashville, and I think we're at that point in the pandemic world where we can kind of go back to normal life. Like, this month, at the beginning of the month when I did Milwaukee and Raleigh, you had to wear a mask at the airport. Nashville, you didn't have to wear a mask on the plane in the airport. So things are really relaxed compared to the beginning of the tour to now, just within, a month. So I think John was like, you know what, I'm going to try it, see how it goes. It's the last night. So if anyone was to, hypothetically get sick, the tour's over with. So there's no need to cancel dates or anything like that. But we had a really good, I mean, we were so originally, like I said, we were 11th row, seats 3 and 4. So that's where our seats were. And that's right on the aisle where John was going to come down and through. So we were like this close to him.
Okay.
Um, and then right after prayer, Bad Name started. We noticed that no one took those seats in 10th row. So that's when we moved, and we were kind of close right between John and Phil. But my last thoughts on prayer was I haven't seen prayer as an opener in I think since 2011 tour. They did on 2011 tour, but I don't think I was at any of those shows. So the last time I saw prayer as an opener, I think was, I'd like to say Crush tour, maybe Lost Highway or Have a Nice Day tour. So it was cool to see that again, because we're at that point within the band's stage where they're a legacy now. And so fans, you got to say the best for last. And obviously in the general public's view, prayer is one of those songs you want to save for last. Diehards like you and me, we love seeing it as an opener. But I want to shut up and give you a chance to talk about your experience, with seeing prayer opening the show.
Well, I listen to a lot of the YouTube videos and I just play them even though I'm doing something else. And back when they were younger, I noticed they always opened with that because that was their big hit, and loved it. And so to hear him sing it first, I was like, yes, at least, and he sang it great. And like you said, you know, you don't want to listen to what anybody else is saying, but he just was right on.
Oh, he sounded phenomenal, and the way that he was singing those notes in the chorus, he was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Especially the bridge, you know, ready or not, you live for the fight when it's all that you got.
Yeah.
Man, that was great. And yeah.
And
So
then kind of towards the end when he had to, like, you could tell he was kind of like getting back up to, he needed to get to the stage, you know, but he did a lot in the crowd. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I was going to mention that earlier. Yeah. I totally forgot. I think he really enjoyed having that crowd interaction because, like you said, if you watch previous tour videos when he's out in the audience, you know, he knows when he's got to get back and stuff. You know, I'm wondering if maybe this was kind of off the cuff, last minute decision because, like I said, I saw some of John's family coming down the aisle right before all this was happening. So I'm wondering if maybe this was off the cuff. Obviously, they didn't have a B stage on hand because it just wasn't planned for the tour. So, but either way, you could tell he was just so happy to be with. I mean, he was shaking hands and fist pumping. He took a few selfies and he was just having fun seeing everyone. And then I noticed that Bad Name was just about to get started. He was all of a sudden starting to rush a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was wondering because for people that are listening, Prayer replaced Limitless. Limitless was the opener for all 14 of the previous shows.
Yeah, I know that. I didn't get to hear it at all, and that was one of the songs that when he does, you know, his little interview or his XM radio stuff, he says that he asked Dorothea what should be the first single, and she said Limitless, and I'm like, yeah. So I was looking forward to hearing it, and you know, this is the only show because I'm on the West Coast and you guys are out here, but it was just a great concert anyway without it.
And you know, we should probably talk about the audibles real quick. The audibles were Have a Nice Day, Limitless, and I Love This Town. Obviously, none of those three got played, but with Nashville, you know, 2020 was recorded there, and Lost Highway was recorded there. Especially with the whole country influence of Lost Highway, I was expecting more Lost Highway tracks to get played. I would have thought. No, I'll say I'll Be There For You was we'll get into that, was the perfect encore song to finish the. But I wish I Love This Town replaced Who Says or was after Who Says before the encore. You know, or even the first encore song. You know, I wish I Love This Town got played.
Yeah. That's all about Nashville, right? I mean,
yeah, that was that song influence. So if you look. Well, you're in your VIP thing, but they have like a series of questions too, like on the screens, just for fun for people to learn about the band a little bit. And that was one of the questions. And obviously, diehards like you and I know that I Love This Town was written about Nashville.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping that was going to get played, but it was nice to see it as an audible because it wasn't an audible and wasn't played at all during this tour.
Right.
But anyway, so Limitless was an audible, but it just wasn't played. Have a Nice Day, I Love This Town. So anyway, so back into the set list. So after prayer, when John's walking back to the stage and he's finished on prayer, I'm thinking in my head, okay, is he gonna go into radio, or is he gonna do the traditional Bad Name, like that, you know, like how he used to do, you gotta talk to me, I want to know. Tico, take me to the sea. Then they transition to Bad Name. So I'm like, oh, please do Bad Name. And they did. They ran right into Bad Name. So, you know, to kind of end my little ramble on prayer, I was just so, I mean, as soon as I saw John in the crowd and they started doing prayer, because as soon as they started doing prayer, I was so, I mean, I had so much adrenaline running through my body. I was happy.
Yeah.
I don't have too much to say about Bad Name, though. You know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I was having fun. I didn't take too many videos or photos on this show because I knew it was the last night of the tour. I know we're not getting anything else this year as far as touring in the States.
Enjoy it by not recording everything, you know.
Yeah, so I kind of want to do it. I did do like 3 or 4 videos, and I actually did what I like to call band member Kim videos, where like I shot Tico just for Born to Be My Baby, just Tico only, and then Phil for This House, David for Keep the Faith outro, just to kind of give them some appreciation and kind of show how talented they are. Because during a show, I'll watch a specific band member and just like watch their talent and because a lot of times people just watch John and stuff, and people don't watch the whole band. So, but back to the set list. So, what did you think of Bad Name? Anything you want to say on Bad Name?
Just a fan favorite, and I know he always wants to play the fan favorites too. But not much more about that one. But Radio, the next one, Radio, that's a great sing along song, and it's an older song, and I'm surprised he sings it, but
every night of this tour it got played, which I'm saying because it is a huge diehard fan favorite. So I think that he was doing this one for the diehards on this tour. But just to back up just a little bit, I was wondering after Bad Name, I was wondering if because the 14 shows were kind of consecutively the same show every night, which isn't like Bon Jovi. So I was wondering, is Nashville just gonna be off the cuff different? Obviously it wasn't, but during Bad Name I was hoping it would be a little different. But then I saw he kind of got into radio after that. I was like, okay, he's gonna start following the same the same list from previous shows.
right.
But Radio was great. I enjoyed it because I was thinking during that performance, I was like, this might be the last time that we see this live for a while, because next tour he may just not do it anymore. So I don't have anything else to say about Radio. Do you?
No, I think it was just a great sing along song as far as that goes.
I've elaborated quite a bit on how much I loved seeing Radio live on my other podcast episodes of the tour. So, but I loved it. It was great. And then they did Born to Follow. I noticed that John didn't. He hasn't been doing the last few shows. He didn't use his guitar for Born to Follow.
Oh no, yeah.
So that.
I'm trying not to watch the other videos because I wanted to be surprised on everything that I got in this.
Hey, kudos to you, because I couldn't do that.
Yeah, no, my friends were sharing them and everything. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna watch. I want to see it live for myself, and I'm glad I did. I mean, it was a good experience. So, yeah.
So let me ask you this: so since you didn't see any videos, what did you think of the outro, the Phil's extra additional solo at the end of Born to Follow?
Oh, I thought it was great. Yeah. No, and he was right there in front of us. You couldn't really. He's so entertaining. He's a great.
I know.
So talented, and just when you're that close, you can watch him really play. Not far away.
Exactly. Yeah. And just to kind of pause through the set list here, the whole band itself, they had so much energy and so happy. This show was pretty much more of like, hey, we made all 15 shows. None got canceled. This is the last night. And I always say opening night and last night are always shows you have to do if you can do it. Opening night because you don't know what to expect, and the last night because it's more of a celebratory show that they're done with this tour. And all the family, as usual of every tour, all the family members were there. We saw Jesse, we saw Colton, and I saw some of John's other family and blah blah blah. But back into the set, let me get sidetracked here.
Yeah, they were sitting right above you, right on that right side, because I couldn't see them because I was more up front, but everyone's sitting up.
Yeah, they were all. I love Gabby. She's So I don't really follow what their kids do and stuff. I'm not one of those kind of fans that get into what their kids do and blah blah blah. But I actually follow Gabby on Instagram because she's a comedian. She's hilarious. So not because of David, but because of her comments, why I follow her. So I saw her. She's so funny. I saw her. Right now she's got like a cast on her foot, and so like her friend and her roommate and stuff. him and Gabby were all messing around the arena, and he had her on her shoulder, and she was just having fun singing along to the songs, and she put some stuff on her Instagram, so that was kind of fun to see her having fun and all of that, and it's great to see their families kind of support them, and
Oh,
because they're not able to see their families on during the entire tour. And so it's nice that they're able to see all their families, and the families are there to see the show. Uh,
right.
yeah, my word's a little scattered because I'm very tired, and I only slept for a total of 3 hours this weekend. So
I know. I'm burning it at both ends too here. So
so let's get into the next one. It's My Life. So as diehards, we know when John takes a break, like I know what songs they're going to go into based on what guitars Phil and Shanks have,
yeah,
and what
it's
Hugh, and then if John has a guitar or not. So when he started to introduce the, It's My Life, he started talking about Ukraine
right.
and all. So I was like, okay, they're doing It's My Life. I don't have anything to really say about this one, not that I haven't said before on another podcast. I loved it. It's My Life for every time. It's My Life started it all for me when I was 8 years old,
Yeah.
2000. So that song to me, I always sing my heart out because I have such a connection to it. Other than that, I just enjoyed it. How about you? You have anything you want to say about It's My Life?
Um, it was nice to hear him talk about Ukraine, and like it wasn't just, it's a real thing out there that's happening, and that he talked about the guy that was playing the song while they were, over there. What were they doing? Making sandbags or something? I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, and so that was kind of started talking about it, and then he led into the song. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was I felt like the drums, maybe just because where I stand, I thought the drums were kind of amplified and even louder compared to the other two shows that I did on this tour. Did you notice that the drums were kind of
I
more
did.
in your
Yeah.
face on this show, which was great because I love Tika, and I just felt like the drums were a lot louder on this tour compared to some of the other shows that I did on this tour.
Yeah. No, I noticed that too. I
Yeah.
noticed that. Hmm.
So, so I was kind of paying attention to that a lot on this performance. Next one is Beautiful Drug. For some reason, Beautiful Drug, This House, and Have a Nice Day, they kind of have that same intro hook, guitar hook. And for some reason, I thought it was Have a Nice Day at first. I'm like, wow, they put Have a Nice Day in pretty early. For a split second, I was like, okay, they are starting to.
Sometimes it sounds like that.
And then I was like, oh, no, 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 this is Beautiful Drug, So great. Um, Great performance, Beautiful Drug. I don't have too much to say about this one. Do you?
Yeah. Good sing along song. It was one of
Yeah.
my favorite. Album came out
Yeah.
right away. I liked it. So it was good to hear it live. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. The next one, Born to Be My Baby. Just one of those other fun sing-along songs, 2, 3, 4, and yet the whole crowd is jumping. There was a lot of energy with this one, I thought. I mean, the whole crowd was just kind of um, up in it. I did notice for Nashville, though, who the hardcore fans were and who were the general fans, because when they did Beautiful Drug right before Born to Be My, a lot of people were sitting down because they didn't
Right.
know Beautiful Drug. And then I remember when John sang 2, 3, 4, everybody got back up and was singing. But you could tell who the diehards were. And another thing too about just the diehards, you know, as a lot of the diehards always go to the last show of the tour, so you see a lot of familiar faces, which is great. With the last night.
And it
Um,
was kind of cool because I know it was just a full house. Looking back and all around, it was great.
yeah, absolutely. Next one is This House Is Not for Sale. Um, Love it. I love this one live, especially because of Phil's outro solo that they added into the show, added to the song. Um,
That's a good one.
yeah.
Oh, this where they show the windows and the
Oh, on the screens. Yeah.
yeah.
I thought that, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because for Milwaukee, I was front row center, and then for Raleigh, I was fourth row center. When you're further back, you kind of get an idea of the whole show production, because when you're front row or fourth row, you pretty much only have your eyes set on the band and maybe some of the production. But with me being 10th row, you get more of the production value of the lighting and the screens and the way the band is formed, and so that was cool for me last night, was being able to see more of the production of the show. Um, Another thing I wanted to ask you too, speaking of production, and I talked to some other friends too who said the same thing. I I couldn't get really good, with these bad boys, the iPhones, you get really good photos. I couldn't get good photos last night. It was like the lighting was weird.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It didn't look as clear as it could have been.
Yeah,
I almost brought a regular camera, but I don't know if I want to bring it in there or not.
yeah. I haven't had that problem, since iPhones got really good with. I'm not doubting iPhones, because I know that some Android users were having the same problem too. So I think there was some kind of problem with lighting. You couldn't get a clear image on phones for some reason. I had a lot of other friends telling me that too. So um, anyway, next one is just older. Another staple in the set list, which I was kind of surprised on this tour, that Just Older was played every night, which is great. I love Just Older. I kind of got into a little Captain Crash frenzy this month,
Yeah.
hoping it would get played at some point. I've said this before, but I think, with Born to Follow, Just Older, and even Who Says, or Do What You Can, Whole Lot of Leaving, Lost Highway, those 6 songs could have gotten swapped with Because We Can, um, Captain Crash, just a bunch of different songs that could have been interchanged. But I've said this before, I don't want to say it again. What I really love about Just Older on this tour is the Sha La La edition. And now that I know that you haven't seen any YouTube videos before the show, what did you think of the whole when he started doing the Sha La La? Obviously, it's an addition to the song.
Yeah,
On
no,
this
that was great to hear, but he's a year older than me, so I get the just older stuff,
Yeah.
how people remember you in high school and then you're just older, and so
Mhm.
I like that song too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah. Yeah, like, for me, I'm in my 20s. I turn 30 next weekend, so I'm nervous about turning 30. So, for the first time for me, I know you're probably thinking you're turning 30. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
For me, for me it is. But yeah, so for the last 29 years, I never really could relate to Just Older. It's just one of those fun sing along songs now. But now I feel a little bit. Uh,
Well, I remember him with the long hair
yeah,
and kept the hair short and kind of changed their look a little bit.
yeah.
That, that's what I remember from the long, what all girls like, all the long hair.
I started, the Crush era, 2000, and so yeah. Next one is Let It Rain. This is one of my favorites on 2020, and I'm glad that it was pretty. I think I actually did get played every single night. I know before we started recording here, we were talking about a highlight for us was the harmonica, and
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about the harmonica part.
Well, yeah, I got a good video of that. I was really glad to see him play it, because some shows I've heard that, he either played it or he only played a little bit of it, and he played a lot. I thought it was great. I mean, he played for a few minutes, it seemed like, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, so I was glad to see that, and it's on the new album, and that's what he's out promoting, not just the old stuff.
yep,
So that hear that too.
yeah, and since you didn't see any of these. No, so obviously you know that the harmonica's not on the studio version of Let It Rain. So
Right.
this was a total surprise to you, not
Oh yeah. Oh, and I missed that. He used to play it quite a bit more, but
I know, especially like Born to Be My Baby or Homebound Train. He used to do that all the time.
that
So So that was really nice. I just love Let It Rain. Everything about it live is so good. You know, the way that they do the screen, you know,
Yeah,
on the screens, it's the window panels during a storm, you know, and the way he does the harmonica, and then, you know, at the end, you know, Christ, I'm calling. And then,
yeah,
yeah, I always love watching Phil at the end where they do like the boom, 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 and then Phil's jumping up and down along with the drums.
yeah,
It's just, I hope that song continues live in the future. I
yeah.
love so during Let It Rain, I kind of embraced that a little more because that song has potential of never getting played again. You know, you get every tour, you know, you get certain, like for example, the What About Now album. That's What the Water Made Me was a heavily played on that tour. It's kind of a forgotten track now. It doesn't get played live
Yeah.
anymore. As a few audibles, but never played. So I wanted to really embrace Let It Rain because it may not get played again. But we'll see. Next one's Keep the Faith, huge fan favorite. So, like I said, you know, with Beautiful Drug and Born to Be My Baby, a lot of the casual fans didn't know the new stuff. So, Let It Rain was one of those songs where a lot of people sat. But once Keep the Faith, there, you know, the boom, 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 you know, everyone got up.
Yeah.
And Keep the Faith was really good, I thought, last night. Like,
Oh,
compared
and
to yeah. I
when,
thought it was electrifying and just amazing.
yeah, when they all went back, like they all huddled together in the back and all played together, that was amazing. That was a really great
Yeah.
collection of all of them.
And, you know, and Keep the Faith really showcased how well John was feeling. I mean, vocally, energy wise, he was on fire, and Keep the Faith proved that. And I took a video of that, and I have it on my YouTube. Um,
I
he was just.
yeah.
Did you see how far? Which we'll get into the giving away the maracas at the end. But did you see
Yes.
right before he kind of finishes up to go downstairs while the band does the outro? Did you see how high up he threw those?
I
I
did.
it
Amazing.
felt like they were touching. I mean, and Bridgestone Arena is huge and it's very tall as well. I felt like those maracas went and touched the ceiling. Those
Yeah.
babies went high, and so I was like, "There's no way he's catching those." He did. He caught them.
Yeah, yeah,
I might be exaggerating here, but they were pretty high. But
yeah.
you know, speaking of the maracas, did you see that he threw it to a fan at the end?
I turned to my right when he did it, and when I looked back, I saw who got him, and I was so glad she got him because
Yeah, me
she's
too.
so many shows,
Yeah.
and,
Oh,
and she's just a huge fan, and it was great to
yeah.
see them.
Yeah. We won't mention her name just because of privacy and stuff. I don't know if she'd want to be, you know, mentioned, but yeah, she totally deserved them. She is such a sweetheart,
Yeah,
and it's good to see those stuff given to fans. And usually he does, you know, last night at this show, he'll give like I've seen him throw maracas before to fans, and you know, so that was great. I
yeah,
wasn't expecting that, and I just remember like he went right up to her and threw him, and that was sweet.
yeah.
Um, and then we talked about the outro. The outro was, you know, so I did my David cam because it's so fun to watch David do the, you know,
Yes.
piano and keys and stuff like that, and yeah. Anything else you want to say about Keep the Faith?
No, it's just one of my favorites. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is American Reckoning. I love American Reckoning. It's a great song. I'm tired of it live though. I was kind of hoping this would get now obviously I want to back up just for a second. So you didn't get to you kind of didn't want any spoilers. So at the beginning of the tour, about half, I think 8, 9 shows in, they did an acoustic set of American Reckoning or Lower the Flag, and then the second one was We Don't Run acoustic, and Someday I'll Be Saturday Night acoustic. So the whole band came down. You'll have to see this on YouTube now since the tour's over,
Well,
and you don't.
was it kind of like the Circle? Remember at the Circle tour, they would come down and do acoustic. Was it like that?
Yeah, but they're all on stage. John was in the middle, and
Yeah.
then to John's right was Everett, Shanks, and Tico, and then to John's left was David, Phil and
Ew.
Q.
Yeah.
I told you my brain is scattered right now. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
do that.
then
Right.
so the second half of the tour they stopped doing the acoustic set. So I'm kind of sad you didn't get to see that. And so, but
I'll go.
yeah, it was great. You know, I think the whole acoustic set also it was great to see, but it was also a missed opportunity because they played the same songs every night during the acoustic set has that ability to see what songs would work with a crowd and doing different things. They could have done Always Acoustic or Something to Believe in or It's Hard Letting You Go, and I could list a
Yeah.
thousand songs. But anyway, so back to this. So no acoustic set. They started out with American. I do like how John comes back with that harmonica.
Yeah.
He introduces the song with harmonica, and then he finishes the song with harmonica. Um, the what a little side note here was, I don't know if you saw it, but Houston, I think it was Houston. He was playing the harmonica, and it just wasn't working for him, and so he threw it. He was frustrated. Did you see that video?
Someone told me about it, like it was a negative thing. I'm like, hey, if it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah. All through tours, there's always something like John's guitar not working or the mic not working. It happens.
Yeah.
So the entire time of him doing the harmonica for American Rock, I'm like, I hope it works.
Yeah.
you know. But
Let's do it.
but what did you think of American Reckoning at this show?
I like the song. I know the story behind it. It's not one of my favorite, but I mean it's his 2020 album he's promoting, and I know it has purpose,
Yeah, I think this one's his absolute favorite on this album because he's played it almost every night. I would have thought Story of Love would have been heavily played, but the only time it was played around, and not to brag, I got to see it live.
Yeah.
But it got played one time on this tour. And I was surprised
Yeah.
that, but
Well,
yeah.
I
So,
had a side note that I remember during the pandemic, they had that special on YouTube, and
oh yeah, a night like this.
and if you didn't know about the songs, it made you like the album more, I think, because it gave more purpose to it. He talked about every song and why he wrote it, and like this song, he explained why he wrote it, and I just like that. Now it just made me want to listen to the album more.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, you said it perfectly. Next one's Whole Lot of Leaving. A Whole Lot of Leaving. I could go without it on a set list. I thought it was good last night. With the Lost Highway influence, Nashville influence, I could see why it was definitely. I figured it was going to get played.
Yeah, he played that one.
Yeah, it's been a hit or miss on the tour. He'll do it sometimes, and then other times he would do it. Anything you want to say about that one?
No, it's just another one, sing along, and
We've seen that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Next one's Do What You Can. So I was excited for this one because in Milwaukee and Raleigh he didn't do What You Can, and so I wanted to. So you and I both got to see it at the Runaway trip last June. Live
Yes.
for the first time. He actually opened the show with Do What You Can. So that was great. So ever since I've wanted to see the band do it live, and I didn't get to see it in Milwaukee or Raleigh. So I was glad he was doing it this show. And that was it was great. And I love the way in the bridge, he goes, now that we've got the vaccination, that
Yeah.
line.
Changed up the words a little bit because now it's past tense. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. So I really enjoyed Do What You Can at that show.
I really like the version with Jennifer Nettles. I
Oh,
just love he hits the high notes, and just they're a good duet. Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that she does the outro. I actually had some friends tweet me, hey, do you think Jennifer Nettles will show up, because I guess she was in town, someone was saying, or
I didn't know that.
yeah. So I didn't see these tweets until after, so I didn't even think about it. But like, how cool would that have been?
Yeah, for her to show up.
because there were I don't know if I should mention on the pod. There were some special guests backstage um, last night, but I don't know if I should mention on the podcast. Um, next, yeah, next one was "Sleep When I'm Dead," which this one was a huge crowd pleaser. You know, everyone. I was looking around the arena, everyone's hands were up, and the clapping.
Yeah.
Just a fun one live.
And
What?
he doesn't always play it when he's in full concert. You don't hear him play it all the time. So it was
Yeah,
great to hear it live and with the
yeah,
band.
yeah.
Loud, you know.
Yeah, he didn't do it the first three shows, and then in Charlotte and after he's done it every night, and it's great, especially because after the acoustic set or after these, excuse me, heavier songs, this one's up and light beat or light and upbeat, and it gets the crowd going. Another thing that I've noticed too was most of the tour doing the song, they didn't do it, but they did for the last few nights, where John would wave Hugh, Shanks, and Phil over to David, and they just kind of flaunt and admire David, and they're like,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
hitting the keys. I got a really cool photo. I love that. Kind of give David a little bit of a spotlight.
Oh yeah, I love it when he does that.
Yeah. And then, right before roller coaster, which we'll get into here in a second, but right before roller coaster, John did a band introduction, and I just loved watching each band member get their applause. Because a lot of times, people think Bon Jovi is just John, but you know, it's a band, and so everyone got their little huge applause. But did you hear the roar when Tico was introduced?
Oh yeah.
Like that was incredible. The crowd just screamed when Tico was introduced. So I love that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And um, yeah. Did he do that every show? He introduced him every show.
Not every, so I think he was kind of cautious on time. I did notice on some shows because I did updates every night on Twitter. So John would kind of do it a little bit right before the encore, a few songs. And so when he didn't do it, that he was stretched for time because it takes about 3-4 minutes for him to do it. So that's worth a whole song right there,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
minutes. So, but most of the shows he did. Um, anyway, so the next one is Lost Highway. I knew this one was going to get played because it's Nashville. I knew that one was going to get played. Um, I love the visual effects. So since this was your first show of the tour, what did you think of the visual effects of
Oh,
Highway?
a lot of good horizontal photos of that because that really you want to catch all that because that I mean I don't know who does his graphics, but that's all a lot of good coordination to get that to do all that. And I was like,
Oh,
it's amazing to watch it. I was watching that stuff a lot too during the show.
mhm.
I'm a graphic person, so I like
Yeah,
all that stuff. But yeah, it was really cool the pictures and everything that went by.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, whoever did the visual effects, I mean, they deserve a great pat on the back because it was great and just so visually perfect on how it was programmed with the song. Yeah, that was good. Next one is one of my favorite highlights of the night, Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
This is one of those songs where I think Roller Coaster could have been a massive hit if it wasn't shadowed by the other This House Is Not For Sale singles. Everybody in the crowd was jumping to this song, and Roller Coaster is one of my top 5 favorite songs. And so my wife makes fun of me, but when I see Roller Coaster live, it like captivates me. It's like being in an ocean and you're just one of the waves. It lifts you and it takes you away for 3-4 minutes. Like I'll even like close my eyes and sing along. I love it live. And it's so cool to see, look around the arena and everyone's dancing to it. Everyone's pushing their hands up in the air for the chorus. I love it.
No, it's one of my favorites, and even when I hear it in the store or something, I'm like, oh my god, it's Roller Coaster. They're playing
Yeah.
Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
It's a good one off that album.
Yeah, and I knew they were going to get into it because, like I said earlier, you kind of base on what songs are going to get played. And I saw Shanks and get his acoustic guitar. So I'm thinking he's either doing Amen, which hasn't been done yet, or Roller Coaster. Obviously it was Roller Coaster. Next one is Who Says. I was wondering, so majority of the tour, Who Says was actually an encore song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the entire show, I was wondering, okay, so prayer is not obviously not going to be at the end of the show, because prayer would always be the last song before the encore. They would do prayer, then take a small 5-minute break, and then come back out for the encore. So I'm thinking, okay, what could they possibly do as the final show before the encore? And obviously the answer is Who Says, but Who Says would be actually the first song of the encore, but not. I'm getting carried away here. So
Well,
Who Says was
he
played.
plays Who Says a lot, like the acoustic shows too.
Yeah.
Just easy strumming and just a good song everybody loves. So he just plays it.
Yep, exactly. So I don't have too much to say about it. I mean, it's one of those fun song, raise your hands and it's all right, it's all right. I love that. Anything else you want to say about Who Says?
No, it's just a good sing along song.
Yeah.
Like, us fans like it. So
Yeah.
it's a good one to put on the list.
Yeah, so I was wondering if he was going to do anything else after. Obviously, we know that the encore is coming, but I was wondering if he was going to do anything else, especially maybe an extra Lost Highway track. I think this would have been a great way to put in I Love This Town. Whether it was after Who Says, and then take a break, then do the encore, or then start the encore with I Love This Town. Um, but they didn't. So then I remember John at the end of Who Says, good night, thank you so much, blah, blah. Obviously, you and I, we both know there was more to come.
Yeah,
But then they
right.
left, and then I noticed that they were playing with Tico's drums. Did you notice that during the band's break? You could hear like someone tapping on the drums.
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah. So they were working on Tico's drum set. And I noticed that like the break kind of seemed a little longer. So I don't know if maybe there was something wrong with Tico's drum set, but then they got it figured out. And then what I loved was you didn't see anything, you didn't see the band on stage or anything yet. All of a sudden you heard the da 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 da, and that was John doing that quick intro. And then all of a sudden the whole band comes up, and one, it's coming because John did the da 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 da. I didn't notice any of the mistakes, but did you notice how
he stopped, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like stop, 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 and
So
then
what was wrong? I didn't know what was wrong.
You can barely tell, but I think Phil did like a little note mess up right before the first verse starts, and then I think that screwed John up a little bit. 'Cause he wasn't on the right strumming pattern for the song.
Oh,
I think that's what, and so that's when John was like stop, 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 and then they just redid it. Those are the kind of moments that I love about a show, because that I like to call it's imperfectly perfect.
Right.
Because it's live, it's not lip sync, it's a live band, so mistakes happen. I love seeing stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is cool, something. And obviously with Nashville, I want to back up too. I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is my 59th Bon Jovi show that I've ever seen. What's that?
That's amazing.
I know. But so my point of saying that is I have never, ever, I've never seen the band in Nashville. So this is my first time seeing the band in Nashville. I have never heard a crowd scream and have such an uproar and excitement for Wanted as I did in Nashville. The crowd just went crazy over Wanted. If I had to say which song had the best crowd interaction, it was Wanted. The whole arena was just screaming Wanted, and it was amazing. Like I said at the beginning when they were doing the da 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 da, the crowd just screamed. I thought that was incredible. I don't know if you caught that. How crazy. Yeah.
The energy all night was amazing. It was just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed a longer pause. This is the stuff diehards notice here. I noticed the longer pause. So at the end of the song, with Richie, they would always get together and do the fist bump. But now
Yeah.
John just stands there alone. He takes the guitar and holds it up.
Yes.
Compared to the other shows, he held that guitar up a little longer.
He did. I
I
noticed.
I think he was just kind of taking it all. Maybe he even noticed too how big Wanted was there last night.
And
How
it's
well
so
received it was. And
yeah.
I remember just watching him stand there with his guitar for a while. I was like, he's taking it all in.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing.
Yes, that
Um,
would.
the the next one is Bad Medicine. Everyone was off their seats too. I thought everything was, for some reason, compared to all the other songs, I thought Bad Medicine was a lot louder as far as sound goes. Like it was just off the cuff, loud in your face, which I thought was great.
Yeah. I love Bad Medicine too. I mean, you can't help but just sing along, and
Yeah.
it was good.
My favorite thing, I think Bad Medicine is great as an encore song, especially to finish the show. What I really liked, and I saw that John did it, a Twitter video, Instagram video of him down backstage with his stairs, and he comes back out to do the One More Time segment.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the first 13 shows, he did the One More Time segment on stage. So in Dallas and Nashville, right at the end of the song, he'd be like, "Okay, good night," and he'd walk off the stage. Let me back up for a second. So, for like "I'll Be There for You," when they would do that song at the very end of the show, he would wave goodbye and go. And so people think, okay, he's gone. So he kind of did that similar to Bad Medicine, but he would still be backstage with the mic, still saying, "You want more? How about one more time?" And then the crowd screams. He comes right back up the stairs, throws. I remember he threw off his jacket, threw it in the air, and then like he had so much energy and excitement.
Yeah.
He like even took his sleeves of that blue
Yep.
shirt and kind of just ripped it and stuff. And he was like, "Here I am," and
Yeah, I'm badass.
yeah, I even looked over to my wife like, he's doing more out there. He was just on fire,
That was great.
and I love that part, and I hope he continues that in the future because that was kind of cool. Where he goes off the stage, goes down his stairway, says, "You want more? One more time?" It comes right back up and does this whole energy, and that crowd just went crazy. I love it. That was my favorite Bad Medicine performance I've ever seen. I will say that.
No, it was really great.
Anything else you want to say about Bad Medicine before we get into the heavy stuff?
No, it's just a crowd pleaser, and it's just one of those hits. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
love it.
So we'll start talking about the heavy stuff. So they did their bows, and I was wondering if John was going to do anything else after this. So they did their bows, and then John did a little speech, which he hasn't done it at all for the rest of the tour, and he kind of talked about why they did this April tour, and he mentioned about that the last 2.5 years they weren't able to tour because of the pandemic. Obviously, we had that 2020 tour planned, and that got canceled.
Oh yeah.
And
That
and
too.
so John pretty much said, this was a test to see if we could still do it. And I remember my heart just sank, and I'm thinking, of course you can still do it. Look, did you not see the crowd's excitement during Bad Medicine 5 minutes ago? And I think John realized they still got it. They can still sell out arenas, and it's not the end, But it made me choke up a little bit just thinking John second guessing himself if they could still do what they do, you know. And then all of a sudden you see John going, one more, one more. And I knew they were going to do I'll Be There for You, which I truly think is a great way to end the show. And I'm thinking, when that final tour does come and they have to pick a song to end the show with, I'll Be There for You is the perfect song. And I'm gonna say why it made me choke. I I'm one of those. I don't cry kind of guys.
Yeah.
I cried last night because it was the last show. I haven't been able to see my favorite band on stage since 3 years ago, since the This House tour, and just being I was so happy that they were touring again and doing these 15 shows and just being able to see them again. It's so much happiness, because we always joke with each other the post-concert withdrawal depression.
Yeah.
And for Milwaukee and Raleigh, I was like, I got more shows to look forward to, so I'm not too worried about it. But knowing that this is it for a while, obviously we know that there's things that are coming, but right now, this is it. And I wasn't the only one choking up either. I was looking around and I saw other diehard fans crying. I saw, the occasional fans crying. And it was emotional for some reason. And I think it was because of that, with John's little speech beforehand and just the way that it was played. It was emotional, I think, for a lot of people, even John himself. Did you choke up at all or no?
Oh yeah, no. And then
Yeah.
knowing the last song of the tour, I
Yeah.
mean that's more emotional, but I've never heard it played live like that before.
Yeah.
It was really great to hear him sing it and the emotion, and the look on his face, you knew he was just loving it and that he knew he had it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He still
And
got it. Yeah.
he knew how proud the fans were of him on this tour. I won't get into, I know there was a lot of hate out there, but I think the fans that still supported him and loved him like us, he knew there's tons of fans still out there that love and support him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, especially the ending, of I'll Be There For You, I was choking up because I was actually thinking, we know the final tour is coming.
Yeah.
We know Tico's getting up in age and just different factors. So, and I was thinking, this would be so good to play as a final song on a final tour.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, but I was also thinking too, this is the last song of the tour, and the way, I mean, John was really pouring it. I've seen "I'll Be There For You" a ton of times over the years, but this one, he was really pouring his heart out. And then at the end, he does his ad libs, through the wind, through the snow, through the driving rain.
I love that.
Oh, it was incredible. And then you could see, on previous shows, he's done "I'll Be There For You" a couple times as an encore song. He kind of walks off and the band finishes, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Did you see him fighting? Maybe it was just for the theatric part of the show, but I also think it was him personally. He was having a hard time walking off that stage. I don't think he wanted to, I was looking at time too, and it was going on 10 to 11, which 11 o'clock is the end. You can't do it. You can't go past 11. I could see him fighting. He didn't want to leave. I remember just watching him look around the arena.
Yeah.
Proud,
And then that shot I got of him with his hand
Oh,
over his chest. Yeah.
that was a great shot.
Yeah.
And then, I remember him going from his spot on the stage, going to the stairs, and he'd come back and, he did a little bit extra too of "I'll Be There For You" and the whoa, whoa, whoa with the crowd. He did that a little extra too. And then I remember him, starting to go down the stairs, and he stopped and turned around real quick and just looked around the entire arena. You could tell he was choking up a little bit too.
Yeah.
And he was thinking, we don't know what he was thinking at that time too, but I think if he did not realize before, he realized then how much the fans still love him, and that they still got it. They can still tour, and we know this isn't the end. Obviously, we know there's more to come, but I'm gonna admit I cried during this performance because it was that good. Just the emotion behind it, and it was that good.
And I think he misses his fans, I think,
Yeah, I do too. And I think, maybe, prior to the beginning when he had that crowd interaction, I think maybe that had a little bit to play as well. But I think, the end, if what he said was that they wanted to see if they still could do what they were, still tour and sell out arenas, blah blah blah. I think he realized he can.
Yeah.
And, obviously, with 40 years coming up, I'm sure they got big plans for us, with touring and stuff, and so. But
And my feeling with it, and probably you too, because you went on more than one, is so addicting. You want to go again. You want to go the next one. And we didn't have any over there to go to. And I'm like, I got to go to Nashville.
yeah, you got.
All you guys, the friends that I've met over the past few years, I can name how many I have now through this whole experience, and being a fan is great. It's so much fun, and we could all go. A lot of girls that are like by themselves and stuff, they're like, I can do this by myself now because I know all you guys. And I'm like, absolutely, we could all just join together, like you and me, and now I met you and Rachel and Michael and everybody else. So it's so much fun.
That is my favorite part of the show. With the diehard fan base, and social media and the fan club and all that, and going to different shows, different events, you get to know people, and we may not see each other every day, but we all get close with each other. We still interact with each other, and just like we had so many, we hung out with so many people yesterday, and that's what makes it so special is experience. Like, I'll Be There For You is the perfect example. I felt so, I don't want to say silly, but like I was overcome with emotion that I choked up. But seeing other people choking up and having tears in their eyes, that makes it what we get each other,
Right. Yeah.
Like my friends and stuff, they'll make fun of me, but like, what, you don't get it. It's not like I'm sad tears. It's like a bittersweet tear,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the perfect example. We all get each other, and we both know how much we love the band, what the band means to us. I always joke around. I say, when I get home, my friends will ask me, "How was the show?" And I'll be like, "Oh my God, they opened with prayer, and they did this, and they did that." And like, my friends are like, "I don't care. I just want to hear you say it was good. That's it."
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me, "Hey, how was the show?" You genuinely care. You want to know what happened with prayer. I'll be there for you, and stuff like that, so it's great. But obviously, there's probably gonna be some runaway trips that'll happen at some point, and then we'll get more stuff in Bon Jovi world, and see what's to come. So anything else? What's that?
And see what the next tour will bring, if we hoping there's another tour. Yes.
Yeah, well, publicly, Tico has mentioned that they're doing a 40th year anniversary tour.
Okay.
So,
cross our fingers.
Yeah, that I know this is not the end. So, but I was thinking, if this was the end, I shouldn't say, because I know that it's not. But I was thinking, if this was the end, it was a beautiful way, But like I said, this isn't the end. There's more to come. But
it's a good way to close it. The end.
Yeah.
That's for by.
I have a feeling. As far as touring goes, I have a feeling it's coming. With Tico getting up there. I mean, Tico's still a badass drummer. So I don't even see him slowing down. But at some point, it's coming. It's gonna happen at some point. I still think, though, they might do some residencies, and they might do like a little tour like they did this April. But we'll see. We'll see what John decides what he wants to do. But
Yeah, sure.
Anything else you want to say about the show overall?
No, I just think it was great. Had a great time this weekend, and looking forward to seeing you guys again out on the road somewhere.
I'm sure, it's funny because, we met in June, and we became fast. I mean, we've talked online together since then, and then we got to hang out over the weekend and stuff, and it's great. So it's always a blast seeing other friends and stuff like that. It's like we never stop seeing each other, just the way that we kind of link up and all that. So
Especially with media, we're always interacting, so that's great.
Exactly. Well, I don't. Let me finish the recording, but I want to thank you for coming on today. I knew you were one of the perfect people to kind of come on and talk about the show with me, and because I know that how much you love the band too, and how much you love the show. So I want to thank you for even doing this so late while it's still fresh in our minds. I thank you very much for coming on tonight.
No problem. Pleasure to do it.
All right, just hang on real quick. Let me end this, and like I said, thank you again.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.